Hi there, this is David and welcome to the top 10 best entries of famous RPG franchises. This is a companion video to the top 10 black sheep of famous RPG franchises, and there we looked at the worst game in a respective franchise. However, here we're going to be looking at the exact same franchises in the exact same order, but seeing what the best game is in those series. Remember, these are not my favorites in the series, but instead the most commonly accepted best games in this series by the masses. I do hope that you all enjoy it, and let's go ahead and get started. Number 10. From the Breath of Fire series, we have Breath of Fire 3. Again, while this isn't my favorite in the series, I can of course put my feelings aside and tell you guys why it is the most popular one in this series. While many other JRPG franchises have experimented with the passage of time to tell their story, this is the only one in the saga to do it, and they did it right. Ryu and Nina begin their journey as children and end it as adults, as they traverse an interesting and colorful world map full of secrets. The time jump happens right after a huge revelation and earth-shattering plot twist as well. The Master System is introduced here, allowing you to customize your characters, and, in a fun twist, they've pretty much made everybody into a blue mage with the Examine feature. Also to note, Ryu has by far the best dragon transformations in the series here with the gene splicing. Number 9. From the Mana series, we have Trials of Mana. Pictured here is the remake recently released, though the original version on the SNES does hold a special place in my heart. This is actually the third game in the Mana series, and it took everything that made the first two games so special and it amped them up a notch. Now we have a party choice of 6 different characters, each with their own classes they can ultimately change into. This allows for a metric ton of replayability. The world is greatly expanded, as is the storyline, and it's a blast to explore. There's also an intricate day-night system where your powers change depending on the day of the week, and I kind of feel like the added voice acting is on the so bad it's actually good spectrum, so it is a nice fun jaunt. Number 8. From the Dragon Quest series, we have Dragon Quest V. There is a great schism in the fanbase here. There's the fans who've been with the series since the Dragon Warrior days on the NES, and those who only joined up with Dragon Quest VIII. Personally though, I'm in the school of thought that the more fans, the merrier. But when you're trying to pinpoint the best game in the series, it does make it difficult. Old schoolers will agree with me here, whereas some newcomers might say that 11 is the best. Honestly though, they're both great, but I've got to go with 5 here. It is the series creator's favorite himself, and it tells a heart-wrenching story of a boy growing into a man, getting married, and having children. It's tight, introduces monster capturing, and it's just fantastic. You really can't go wrong either way. Number 7. From the Final Fantasy series, we have Final Fantasy VII. Similarly to the Dragon Quest series, there is a great schism here too, but I think that we can all agree that while this entry might not be everybody's personal number 1 absolute best on their own little lists, it is the most popular one. I mean, it is the only one getting the ridiculously drawn-out remake treatment, isn't it? The world is massive, the characters are endearing, the towns are varied, and the world just feels alive. The materia system isn't my favorite ever, but I still do enjoy it, and there's just so much to see and do. And the music, it just gives me goosebumps, it's so moving. Number 6. From the Luffia series, we have Luffia 2: Rise of the Sinistrals. This game does everything right. Classic JRPGs are so beautiful in their simplicity, but what's actually here belies its true nature. Right from the start, you're going to find a mature storyline revolving around actual adults with adult problems. The story is great, but the real meat of the game lies in the dungeons and the exploration. Before Luffia 2, puzzles and RPGs were a novelty, or maybe just like one room in a dungeon had them. But here, they're all over the place, and they made countless other fans look at exploration in a whole new light. Ever wonder why puzzle dungeons became pretty commonplace in the PlayStation era? Well, you got Luffia 2 to thank for that. Number 5. From the Lunar series, we have Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. Honestly, Either one of the two original Lunars could be here, but I did like this one a tad bit better, and I also believe that it's just a little bit more well known too. The story follows Alex, his pet Null, and his girlfriend Luna on their adventure throughout the world of Lunar. And I may be alone in this, but I love the art style and the sprites here. The battle system is tactical turn-based, and the characters ooze personality, even down to the smallest NPC. Working Designs did a good job fleshing out the story, and was even able to add their own special blend of humor to the townfolk's dialogue. And also, on a personal note, am I the only one who listens to the boat song like on repeat constantly? Number 4. From the Phantasy Star series we have Phantasy Star 4. Of the 4 Phantasy Star games on the Genesis, this is the only one that can go toe-to-toe with SNES juggernauts like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. Sega finally figured the formula out. The dungeons aren't giant convoluted mazes, they're easy and fun to navigate. The story is well told, concerning the Algo star system as well as their colorful inhabitants. It's not a messy disaster like it was in the previous game. And most importantly, the fun factor is put to the forefront. All the other Phantasy Star stuff released in recent years is nothing but a pale imitation. Sega really should have kept this series going in this vein because it was just fantastic. Number 3. From the Star Ocean series we have Star Ocean 2. I really want the Star Ocean series to go back to their roots. After the astronomical dumpster fire that was the game's third plot, it really just needs a reboot. Back in the day, this was the poster child of the 2D characters drawn on beautiful pre-rendered backgrounds, and the characters were simple yet exciting, and the replay value is through the roof. I love how much time and care they put into the worlds. The game is truly ahead of its time with 2 different lead characters and 2 separate plots with differences in the story, scenarios, private actions, recruitable characters, and progression depending on who you choose. Exploration is paramount. There are 2 different planets to explore, and tons of ways to reach the over 80 different endings. Number 2. From the Suikoden series we have Suikoden 2. Even though this one is not my favorite in the series, it's just my second favorite, I still regard it extremely highly. The story is so well told, and I love the relationship between Ryu, Joey, and Anami, not to mention the fantastic Luca Blight. Battles are extremely fast-paced, and there are tactical army wars to wage as well as one-on-one duels to fight. While each title is standalone, they're also interrelated as they all take place within the same game world but in different countries, especially the first 3 games. In fact, I would recommend playing all of them in order if you're able to. The music is hauntingly beautiful and appropriate, and I personally love the 2D sprites and the pixel art. It's so detailed here, you can just tell how lovingly crafted it all was. And finally, number 1, from the Tales of series we have Tales of Bursaria. This was hard. While it was super easy for me to pinpoint the worst one in this series in the previous video, it's really hard for me to say which one is the best. There were just so many good ones. But it does seem that popular opinion sways in favor of the latest release, Bursaria. It is a nice twist to get to play as the supposed villainous party, and the character interactions are damn near hysterical. Combat is fluid, fun, and not overly complex like its predecessors, Asteria. And the world is gorgeous, and while many games give you a ship, for the most part it's normally just like a conveyance from point A to point B, but here, it's more like you're on a pirate on an adventure to loot and plunder. All the quality of life improvements introduced in the series lately also just make it a joy to play. Well, that's it for the top 10 best entries of famous RPG franchises. What are your favorite entries in these franchises, and what other series would you like to see covered in this way? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this video and what I do here on the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon for exclusive videos and early access to my new top 10s. The link to it can be found in the video description. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.